Hello, welcome to Health Styles, where we believe that everything you eat, drink, and think directly affects your health. I'm your host, Carole Dean. What do you have to do to have a fantastic body, good health, and a wonderful attitude? Well, stay tuned for our guest today, Spice Williams, and we'll get her secrets. Our show today on health tips will tell you which has the best and the worst fast foods based on their fat grams, and we'll give you the restaurants' names so you'll know where to shop and where not to go. Dr. Murray Susser will tell you about the immune system today and which supplements are really good for you, while Michael Clapper will tell us about the 4 food groups and which ones are the most important and how we can improve our health. And that's our show today. Now I'll start with the health tips section, and this is from the Center for Science and the Public Interest. And the first thing is that everybody wants to know is, where can I get the best hamburger with the lowest fat grams? Well, go straight to McDonald's. Their hamburger only has 10 fat grams. Forget the fact that they say it's 92% less fat. We're not sure where they're getting that name from. But the fact is that it is the lowest one around. Hardee's is next with 13 fat grams. Now, Carl's Jr. has a double Western bacon cheeseburger that is 63 fat grams. You could actually call that a double bypass burger if you wanted to. I mean, if you mix that with Carl's Jr.'s large French fries, which are 22 fat grams, you're now looking at 85, which is too much for any person in a day, because they're telling us that women should have around 20 fat grams a day and men around 30. So that's something I would consider carefully before I ordered. Now, when you have your fries, it depends upon the size. So Long John Silver's small French fries are only around 6 fat grams, and they go all the way up to Carl Jr.'s double large French fries, which are 22 fat grams. So sorry, Carl, we hate to pick on you, but that is a lot of fat grams. Okay, now for those of you who want to eat chicken so that you can, cut your fat grams and your calories, be careful, because a fried chicken sandwich at Burger King is 40 fat grams. So for a woman, that's 2 days' supply of fat grams. Arby's light roast chicken is 5 fat grams. That is a better choice, says the Center for Science and the Public Interest. And for those of you who are looking for a fish sandwich, well, be careful, because Dairy Queen's fish sandwich is 16 fat grams, while Arby's is 29 fat grams. I don't know how they can do that to a fish, but somehow they found a way. Okay, what about desserts? Well, your very best is McDonald's with their apple bran muffin or the blueberry muffin, and the worst is Jack in the Box with the cheesecake, which is 23 fat grams, and 7 of them are saturated fat. So be careful which ones you choose. At least now you are well armed and you know where to go. And now it's time for us to go to Dr. Murray Susser, and we'll find out more about our immune system, and we'll be right back and have a wonderful lady to talk to about her physical fitness and how she does it. Stay tuned.
Organic substances and biochemicals which protect us. Sugars and fats have what I call empty calories. Therefore, they deplete the body of nutrients. The immune system needs nutrients. The immune system needs every nutrient it can get. It has to be fully satisfied with adequate nutrition. Therefore, if you have too much sugar in your diet, for example, you're getting pure carbohydrate. It requires vitamins like B1, B2, zinc, chromium to metabolize, to use that sugar properly, to convert that sugar into energy. Same thing is true of fat. If you look at the food content, the nutrient content of sugar and the nutrient content of fat, very, very empty calories. You have a tremendous amount of calories and not the nutrients to metabolize. Therefore, the more you eat of that, the more deficient your body becomes. Meat has similar effects, but not as bad. Meat does not have a broad variety of nutrients. Therefore, if you eat a lot of meat, you'll be lacking certain minerals, you'll be lacking certain vitamins, and you are creating a situation where your body needs vitamins and minerals like the minerals I've mentioned, like zinc and chromium and magnesium and calcium. We could name dozens of them. And it doesn't get it from these foods. Therefore, your immune system gradually gets depleted and weakened.
Thank you, Dr. Susser. And now I'd like to introduce you to our guest today, Spice Williams. And Spice, you've been on several movies, Star Trek V, right?
Yes, I have.
And Police Academy. And the interesting thing I think that you'll find about Spice is the fact that you have projected yourself into a lot of roles, that you've heard about them, you've trained for them, and then you got them, right?
Right. Well, that's always the job of an actress, is to keep a very attentive ear to find out what's up, what's coming up, and try and train and be ready for it.
So you're doing kickboxing now?
Right. Actually, I wasn't in the movie Police Academy, but what I am doing now is I am a Police Academy fitness instructor for the new TV show Hat Squad.
Oh, I see.
Right. That's on Wednesday nights, Channel 2.
All right. So what do you do to get them in shape?
Well, I train. I'm up at 5 o'clock every morning, and I eat my fruit, and then I eat my complex carbohydrate. Then I go and I train, I lift weights with that, and from there I leave and I do my kickboxing class for about an hour. So.
And is that hard, kickboxing?
Kickboxing is probably the hardest sport I've ever. First of all, I don't want to have to see anybody being punched in the face, so for me to try and accomplish punching a bag or punching someone in the face, it's psychologically kind of difficult, but also the actual skill of boxing is very difficult, and kicking is. It's very difficult.
And do you use boxing gloves?
Yes, I do.
Right. And there's nothing on your feet, just regular shoes?
I have like kickboxing shoes. They're soft, booted type shoes.
And you're doing this because there's a role coming up, right?
Because I have the role.
Oh, you've got it.
Right, yeah. As a stunt woman also, I have to learn how to be knowledgeable in all different fields. So if they call you up and they need to know whether you're capable of doing that, you have a good shot at the job.
Well, what led you to working out and to get such a great body?
Well, it started, actually it started when I was very young. I was 17, I was in a car accident where I was thrown out of the car, wasn't wearing a seatbelt. And I was thrown in the street and rolled around in traffic. I had 2 skull fractures, a double concussion, a dislocated shoulder. They had to rebuild my right knee. I actually died on the operating table. And then when they revived me, I went into a coma. And 3 weeks later, from intensive care, went into a wheelchair. And 17 months later, came out of a neck brace.
Wow.
And due to that particular accident, I was inundated with drugs for the pain. So as my career took me as a musician on the road, I turned the medicinal drugs into recreational drugs. And of course, by the time 1976 rolled around, I was a full-blown out drug addict and an alcoholic.
So you were down at the bottom. Now, how did you crawl back up? What did you do to bring yourself up?
I had 3 overdoses that were very serious. And my last one, when I came out of that overdose, I got on my hands and knees, and I knew that if I didn't make a commitment at that point, I'd be 6 feet under the next time. So I made a commitment to turn my life around. And I had a lot of medical knowledge. I grew up in a medical family. My father was the first bioanalyst in the state of California. And I was a treatment nurse, and I did preoperative and postoperative treatments long before I went on the road.
So then what made you change your diet?
Actually, when I took my medicinal knowledge and tried to apply it to turning my life around, it didn't work. Medicinal knowledge is to treat with administrating drugs, and actually there was no sense of holistic homeopathic or naturopathic type ways of healing myself. So I went from every kind of guru to nutritionist to even people, I mean, if they could throw a dead chicken over my head, I'd want to know I was seeking the truth. Mm-hmm. And I finally started studying chemistry and the biochemistry of the body and discovering, I went into Herbert Shelton, Wayne Pickering, Gary Null, Dennis Nelson, and started studying the digestive enzymic tract and finding out, well, what is it that we eat? If food is chemistry, we are biochemistry. Can we take that chemistry to alter and be what we want to be? And little by little, I sought out the truth and read as much as I could.
Well, then, so then you began to alter your diet. So let's talk about where you are now. What did you do? Meat? What do you think of that?
I am a vegetarian. It's I was a complete vegan for almost 10 years. And I'm a food combining person.
Right.
I did not eat any animals or any dairy for 10 years, and it was just recently in the past 5 years that I slowly incorporated fish, only because of the extensive training that I do. I need a lot of protein and less fat. And there's a lot of fat that you will find in nuts, beans, seeds, and legumes. So in order to cut back in those areas of fat, I increased my protein with using fish.
So you took up fish,
So I took up fish.
But you look so healthy, and are you in good health?
I'm in excellent health. I'm in excellent health. I don't know any really young kids that can keep up with me. It's really, I have a great time intimidating the heck out of them. But I eat fresh tropical fruits every morning. I truly believe that the enzymes are to go into the stomach and clean and cleanse the stomach, and as they move down to the upper jejunum, duodenum, they prepare the stomach to receive complex carbohydrates.
And then which ones do you eat for breakfast?
The complex carbohydrates or the fruit?
The complex carbohydrates.
I have a different, it's either rice or baked potatoes. Yams are wonderful.
What
nice,
about
juicy yams.
Oatmeal? You don't?
I do oatmeal, or I have fat-free granola with soy milk. I don't believe in eating any dairy. I feel that if you want to look like a cow, you eat a cow.
Well, what do they gain? They double their weight in the first 30 days?
A baby calf is born, and the minute it's born, it's supposed to stand up on all 4 legs and grow into a huge beast of 600 pounds eating grass.
And 250 pounds it gains in 1 year. And most of that comes from mother's milk.
So mother's milk is designed for that, to build a cow. But human mother's milk is designed, it's very high in phosphorus and brain foods. And that baby will crawl for maybe the next year, developing its brain.
Exactly.
So the absurdity of us eating anything that comes from a cow in that respect is like a cat being weaned off its mother's milk and going over to a dog. It's absurd. But in 1936, the Dairy Meat Corporation created the biggest propaganda lie that ever existed, that milk is good for everybody.
And it truly isn't. Now they're finding that 75% of us are allergic to it. In fact, I read...
I would say it's closer to 90%.
90? Could be. Yeah. There was a doctor in New York who wrote an article, and he said that everyone comes to him with their allergies. And he said, they think I'm a guru because I tell them all, okay, here's what you do. Go home, have no dairy, come back in 2 weeks. And they come in and they say, I feel wonderful, it's all gone.
Also they think that, okay, I'll eliminate the fat in the milk and just go to skim milk.
Yes.
But skim milk has lactose, which is milk sugar. Now, if you have your intestinal flora, which is made up of acidophilus, candida, bifidus, you know, all your bifidobacters, then what happens is you have that milk sugar that cannot be broken down or digested because there's a gland in your throat which produces lactase till you've been weaned off your mother's milk. Then the gland dries up and atrophies. So now that you cannot enzymically break down lactose, the milk sugar goes into the gut lining, and the candida feast off this sugar. And as it's multiplying, eating and multiplying, it outgrows its area. At that point, it starts to bore holes into the gut lining, which is the mucosal cell lining with the villi hairs. It will sneak its way into the bloodstream, which now becomes systemic. And that's where we have the epidemic, systemic Candida albicans.
And that's what's happening to millions of women, and they don't understand.
And men too.
And
men, they
too.
don't know.
Quite
They'll go to the doctor for sinus infections, for yeast infections, for all kinds of bloat, fatigue, ache, and of course, they'll be medicated.
And let's go to some of the symptoms quickly, because it's really important. We call it brain fog, where you can't remember someone's name or a phone number.
Mental, the retention factor.
Right. You feel tired. You
tired,
at 6 o'clock. You're exhausted.
Right. Achy.
Depressed.
Actually, achy, depression, and bloat, edema. Constant indigestion, gas, flatulence, yeast infections.
Yeast infection, or for guys it can be jockey-ish or itch, or you can just
actually, I've seen it on your hands, like it looks like an eczema. It's and for years they've been medicating this.
True, and in the wrong way. And
with antibiotics,
which causes
more.
So the thing is, if you have 2 or 3 of these symptoms, I tell my friends, go see your doctor and say, would you give me a test for Candida?
Right.
Because once they begin to heal, they feel so much better, because usually when you have Candida too, that you're depressed and you get angry very easy because you're not in good health.
And of course, when you're depressed, you want to eat sweet things. And so Candida will grow off all sugars. Yeast, if you have bread with yeast in it, pretzels with yeast, beer, there's all kinds of, and wine.
Well, see, I think this is also leads to alcoholism in women, because it's so much easier for a woman and acceptable for her to have a glass of wine at dinner, but not to have a piece of chocolate cake afterwards, because she is dying for this sugar from the Candida, and she can't, what can she do? Tell people she's craving sugar? Everybody says, well, just don't eat it, but they don't understand that she's going crazy.
No, absolutely. And also another thing that sets up people in their cravings, you see, I believe in eating every 3 hours. If you are awake at 6 in the morning and you don't go to bed till 9 or 10 o'clock at night, how many hours is that? We are up almost 18 hours. The body cannot function on 1 meal a day.
So that keeps your blood sugar
level.
Your
blood sugar is always dropping, or somebody's nibbling on sugar here and there. You have to have your fruit in the morning. Your body's been laying down at a horizontal position all night long sleeping. The blood pressure's gone down. The minute you jump out of bed, when you hear that alarm, the whole peritoneal cavity of the heart, the lungs, the liver, the gallbladder, the intestinal digestive system has got to have blood sugar to start it, you know, gearing up. So the fresh enzymic fruit will get in there and scrub and clean. A half an hour after that, it's so important to introduce into your body at that point complex carbohydrates. You can get that with your oatmeal, your granola with soy milk, your rice, your baked potatoes, yams are just so
and
wonderful.
Sweet potatoes are really good. They say
unbelievable.
Sweet potatoes, they call them superstars, and yams are good, but sweet potatoes are loaded with your beta carotene and your A
absolutely, and your selenium, which is the #1 mineral that just boosts the immune system.
Dr. Susser is always saying that is very important. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to go listen to Dr. Michael Clapper, and we'll be back with more nutritional information with our guest. So please stay tuned. Now, can you tell us about the new 4 foods groups that the physicians for responsible medicine have put together?
In Washington, D.C., the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine has realized that many of our degenerative diseases we're seeing today, the high blood pressure, the clogged arteries, the obesity, the diabetes, this is the result of eating a diet that is centered on animal products, on meats and dairy products, because these products have a lot of fat and cholesterol and sodium in them.
These are doctors making this statement.
Indeed. They realize that if you eat in a standard American dietary style, if you have bacon and eggs for breakfast and a cheeseburger for lunch and chicken for dinner and ice cream for dessert, you send a tide of fat through your bloodstream. Every 4 hours, 5 hours, you turn your blood fatty day after day. And this diet based on meats and dairy products really is contributing to so much of our diseases. So they said, well, what is really needed for our body? Well, you need protein and vitamins and minerals and energy, and all of those are found in grains and fruits and vegetables and legume products. Those would be the bean family. Said, why don't we center our 4 food groups on these groups that have no cholesterol? So they say that their 4 food groups are the grain products. Those are cereals and breads and pastas and rice and various types of grains we eat. The legume family, beans and peas and chickpeas and lentils, these are very concentrated, helpful proteins. The fruit group that has lots of vitamins and minerals. And the vegetable group that has green and yellow vegetables, carrots, green peas, green leafy vegetables. These are the basic 4 food groups: grains, legumes, fruits, and vegetables. And if you eat your diet based on these groups during the day, you'll get all the nutrients you need without any cholesterol. And there's many studies showing this is really the healthier way to eat.
And you'll save the environment, too, from what we've been hearing about eating green.
That's true. Our current way of producing a meat-centered diet, all the factory farming of these animals, then feed them tremendous amounts of grain, causes tremendous destruction to the environment. Growing all these grains causes the topsoil to erode, the water to be used up, the water polluted with animal wastes. And as we change to more plant-based foods, we'll be able to use our land for other things, for growing grains for human beings, for growing our forests back, for growing fruits and vegetables that are much more gentle with the soil. So consuming a more plant-based diet not only is gentler to our body, is gentler to the planet as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Dr. Clapper. And now we're interviewing our guest today, Spice Williams. We want to know what we have to do to have a body like this and be as healthy as she is. So we just stopped talking. We were talking about breakfast and what you eat for breakfast.
Right.
Now, then you have a small meal next. What is that? Tell us.
Well, we went from the fruit to wake the stomach up and wake the body up. And then a half an hour after that, we went to the complex carbohydrates.
Right.
A lot of people say, well, what am I going to put on my baked potato? How can I eat it dry? Do you know lecithin?
Yeah.
Have you granulated lecithin? You can sprinkle that on it, or actually cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil, maybe 1 teaspoon. As long as it's cold-pressed extra virgin, we're talking about a monosaturated fat, which helps strip fat out of your body.
Well, sweet potatoes are good.
Oh, you don't need anything on a sweet potato.
Or a yam, it's great.
Those are great.
Right.
Now, 3 to 4 hours, it takes 3 to 4 hours for those complex carbohydrates through ptyalin, which secretes in the mouth, amylase, maltase, these are all digestive, alkaline digestive juices, which will pour in upon that complex carbohydrate to break it down into a glucose.
All right.
At that point, the glucose is dripped into the bloodstream and it gives you fuel, gasoline, to power your way through from breakfast to lunch, which is a good 3 to 4 hours.
Right.
Now the body and the pancreas and the entire digestive tract is ready for protein. So at that point, I will either eat a can of tuna or broiled fish. Some people do egg whites, chicken, turkey, whatever, and a vegetable.
Well, and for vegetarians, that would be
You could
perhaps
do
rice
tempeh.
and beans, tempeh.
Well, you could do tempeh,
Tofu.
beans, absolutely, absolutely. And you can complement those beans by using rice on whole grains.
Okay.
Now, after the protein starts to break down, which requires an acid base. We're talking about hydrochloric acid, pepsin, orepsin, trypsin. These are acid digestive enzymes that will pour in upon that protein to break the molecules down into amino acids,
All right.
which are the building blocks of your body. Your body is 75% protein. So, as the amino acids are building the body, which takes about 3 to 4 hours to get this protein out of your system and moving on through the peristalsis. Now, we're talking 6 hours from the time you had your morning complex carbohydrates to about your mid-afternoon.
Right.
Let's say 3 hours after you eat your protein snack. Now the body is ready to receive complex carbohydrates. It's really crucial that you feed that body that mid-afternoon snack. What will happen is when the body does not receive protein, it will beg, borrow, and steal. It catabolizes, it turns into a
So it
cannibal.
takes fat and does...
Doesn't take fat. There's no nutrition.
Takes muscle?
It will take fat for a little bit. But then it goes, there's no nutritional value in fat. Then it will dig into the heart muscle and the skeletal muscular system, and that's how anorexics die. The walls of their heart, the chambers, get very thinned out from being eaten up to support the body, and under any pressure, the heart explodes.
Oh my heavens. All right, so then what do we eat? in the
After your
afternoon?
complex carbohydrate, your little mid-afternoon snack, you have a good 3 hours, which will bring you up to dinner, and you do more protein and vegetables.
Protein at night. Okay.
Right.
Well, now, Wertman is from MIT, and the Center for Science and Public Interest said that he said mood is affected by food.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
And so he says that your complex carbohydrates, like your pastas and things like that, can tend to make you sleepier. Do you find that?
I find that only when you miscombine. See, as I was saying, that the complex carbohydrates are digested in an alkaline medium, the stomach digestive juices. The proteins are digested in an acid. Now, if you have stomach acid and you put Alka-Seltzer on top of it, you neutralize the stomach acid, right?
Right.
Well, if you have a piece of potato and a piece of protein in your stomach, the alkaline digestive juice it requires to break down the starch and the acid digestive juice it requires to break down the protein, when they come together, they neutralize their action. Now your stomach's 104 degrees and the meat and the potato will lay there up to 9 to 10 hours rotting and putrefying. Now what is fermented potatoes?
I don't know.
Vodka.
Vodka. Oh my gosh.
So what you've created is an alcoholic situation, and the peristalsis, the stomach where the food has been laying, rotting, putrefying, and fermenting, the muscles that will push the food through will begin to push through rotting, putrefying, fermenting food, and you will absorb that and feel very tired and sleepy.
Oh, I see. All right, fine. Okay, so now you wrote a book about food combining.
Right.
All right, well, we don't have a lot of time, but can you give us some tips?
The basic thing is to think very, like I said, 6 meals a day, fresh tropical fruit in the morning, complex carbohydrates next. 3 hours after that, your protein and vegetables. 3 hours after that, your complex carbohydrates. 3 hours after that, your proteins. And then before you go to bed at night, fruit.
And when you say tropical fruit, is that banana, papaya?
No, banana is not very cleansing and flushing. It's full of potassium, but it's not scrubbing. I'm talking about pineapple, high in bromelain, papain, enzymes that burn and digest fat and proteins. Papaya, mangoes, kiwis, strawberries, even your oranges and apples and pears and wonderful scrubbing, cleansing fruits.
Okay.
They're great.
Sounds wonderful. Well, and now what do you use as your motivating factor to work out every day?
Age? No.
That's a good one. Preventing aging, I would say.
I love training. I love my life. I love getting up early in the morning. I love being strong. I love feeling healthy. My motivating factor was I got on my hands and knees and I prayed to God that if He helped me turn my life around, I would represent a picture of health and stay committed to it.
You certainly
So I want to be able to be 80 years old and still train, have my muscles, and feel great, where I can run and do whatever I want to do. Quality of life is important, not how old you can get. It's how your quality through your years.
It is so important, and that's the best part of it, is your attitude is so great that you are not only mentally but physically healthy.
Well, when you feel good, my husband and I juice also every night. We have carrot, beet, parsley, celery, ginger, and garlic juice.
Wow.
It's
all
so
together
fat.
in
All
one
together.
thing?
Oh, it's so fat. We call it evacuation juice because it will clean you out. But that's another really important thing. You know, a lot of people realize that they don't realize that their food, once it's digested, needs to be moved out. And that's the whole beauty of living, is living clean. You know, you get your food in there, let it nutritionally support your body, and then get it out.
Okay, Spice, good advice. Well, you are the picture of health. Thank you for your information.
Well, thank you, Carole.